So I'm going to start with your reading, and it's actually very simple. So I'm just going to explain as I go along, okay? So the first card out of this spread here is represents your first house. And the first house is considered the rising sign or the ascendant. This is pretty much the face that you present to the world and the way that other people perceive you, as well as the energy that you are bringing as we get into January. So the first thing here is the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is somebody who is very, very happy with where they are in life. I mean, they're radiating and they have a lot of love and affection to give other people. Your demeanor for this month is very soft, is very ethereal, and it's also very, very spiritual as well. With this card, it basically means, like having a new love in your life, finding a purpose in life as well, and feeling very emotionally stable, emotionally sound. It's also the ace, so it represents, new beginnings when it comes to your emotional life. Okay, so I feel that you're coming into this month in a very optimistic, happy, and just feeling very loved and very cared for and very nurtured by other people. So this is a very great card to have starting out this year. So this is, set intentions for the rest of the year. This looks very positive. The second house deals with your money, your finances, as well as your value system. So the second house, we have the Six of Cups in the reverse position. So let's talk about your money situation, your finances, and income. The Six of Cups in the reverse position, for those of you who have children, first of all, there are a lot of expenditures being, spent on children. And it's neither good or bad. It's basically neutral. And I feel that, they're grown up very, very quickly. And there's a lot of I feel like, just a lot of costs associated with child rearing. And what I'm also feeling as well is a lot of you, if you're in a situation where you have been divorced, there is either, child support, a lot of money coming out towards children, and a lot of expenditures around the household as it relates to children. I do see pets as well for many of you, okay? So a lot of your time resources, especially your financial resources, are devoted towards taking care of children and finances. For those of you who do not have children, the Six of Cups in the reverse basically indicates a situation where some things have to change when it comes to your financial environment. How you make money, and where you're working, for example. So this is an emotional tie, and it's a tie that is, purely emotional, and it's no longer practical. So what that means is, as it relates to your work environment as well, there might be a situation where you have stayed past the expiration date for that job, where you have pretty much learned all the skills that you need to learn. And so you're not really progressing anymore. It's also a job where it feels almost as if there aren't opportunities to either rise up, climb that career ladder, or even like any type of vertical lateral movement. You can't really transfer out. You can't really get a pay increase and things like that. So I feel like you are capping out your income generating potential or your earning potential. So it's urging you to really re-examine how you're making money and whether or not you're still content, okay? Because I feel like a lot of people are staying in a work situation or earning money a specific way, and they're no longer happy. They're no longer feeling passionate about their work, and they're no longer finding it enjoyable. And more importantly, you are a sign that really, you have a very strong sense of intellectual curiosity. So you want to be in an environment where you feel challenged every day, and you feel like you can learn new things, and you can excel, and you can grow. So I feel like the way that you're making money, I feel that it might not be conducive for growth at this point. So some re-examination is needed in your finance sector. What I'm also getting as well is, if, this seems to me like a big card. So this is something, if it's not taken care of in January, it's going to revert back, like it's going to come back for re-examination. So take care of it early on in the year. Set the intention for the year to change this aspect, this area of your life, okay? So I'm doing this spread as a preventative measure. Whatever problem spots that show up, you want to take care of it early on. Otherwise, it will come back and it will, either worsen or it will demand attention, in a later part of the year. Okay. As it pertains to your values, we also have the Six of Cups here in the reverse. I feel like for some of you, especially for those of you who are a little bit younger, the Six of Cups is a childhood conditioning. And what it means is that your value system, for example, the things that you believe in, the things that you really stand up for, there is some sense of like family indoctrination. Okay. So it feels almost as if you might have been raised to believe a certain thing and then you've never questioned it because everyone around your environment believed it. And so this is a card that comes in to force you to re-examine as well. What are some of the things that, where are your values and are they still appropriate in the age and in the circumstance that you are right now? So whatever you grew up with, you need to re-examine it with a fine-tooth comb and you need to go through it and to see if it's really still appropriate for you and whether or not it is something that aligns with your values, your own personal values, or whether or not it's just something that, that you were just told to believe without much question. So a little bit of a inner work regarding, what do I believe in and where do I stand on a specific topic? That is going to be coming through for a re-examination all throughout this year as well. Okay. And we really want to think about, children in terms of like, what types of values do I want to pass down to my kids as well? And so you want to, it's not only re-examining this aspect of your life for yourself, but more so for like the people around you, the people that you love and the values that you want to pass on to them or to promote in your environment. All right. So third house deals with siblings and it also deals with communication. So this is another area that needs a lot of focus for the rest of this year as well. Communication with the moon in the reverse position. This is basically indicative of some type of, I want to say like covert, almost dishonest communication. And it might not be dishonest in a way where, somebody is telling a direct lie. It's a little bit more complicated with the moon. The moon in the reverse is like not being able to communicate effectively where you understand the other person's intentions. And then likewise, the other person might not understand your intentions. And with the moon, it triggers, emotions, feelings. And so what it basically says is that, you want to be very, very careful that you're communicating in a rational way rather than sparking off from an emotional reaction. So be very careful about reining in your energy because I feel like the energy that you're projecting it's very emotional. It's just like, that visceral, that gut instinct that you have where you feel like this is the way that it is because it feels right rather than being able to explain it in a logical, in a rational way why something is the way that it should be. So I feel like, being a little bit more, I guess, like systematic, organized with your thoughts, being a little bit more systematic. And I feel like, the moon represents Pisces. So it's a card about sympathy as well. In order to persuade other people to your point of view, I feel that you have to know your audience, right? And you also have to understand where they're coming from so that you can put yourself in their shoes and create an argument or, a discourse that will, I guess, like that will speak to their experience so that they can understand where you're coming from and they can feel, more in alignment with your own beliefs. So whenever you want to persuade somebody of something, know your audience, know who you're talking to, and being able to put yourself in their shoes so that you can convince them. That's going to be very important. I am getting a message here regarding some health issues. So I feel a lot of discussions about health, somebody else's health, and even a health of a sibling. So I do feel some communications and things like that coming through with a sibling regarding health issues, okay, with the moon card. In terms of your sibling, your home environment and your sibling. So siblings, you might have step siblings, you might have, siblings that are adopted, and some of you might be the only child. So let me just talk about people who actually have siblings first of all. The moon in the reverse might have been a situation where, somebody was vacant, like somebody was not there growing up. So you might have lived in different households and things like that, and then you come back together at a older age. So even though you're siblings, you feel like this sense of distance and this emotional estrangement from one another. And then likewise with blended families, step siblings, and, even adopted siblings, I feel that same type of energy where you might have like even grown up together, but for some reason there was that emotional estrangement and you couldn't, you don't have that normal sibling or that integrated sibling type of a relationship with your siblings. For others, especially those who are only child, the moon card can indicate a situation where you might have felt very, very lonely, almost as if you don't have a sounding board. You don't have another person to bounce ideas off of. And I feel as well, a lot of you who might have been only child grown up, I feel like imaginary friends, like having imaginary friends to take place, to create that sounding board so that you have somebody to bounce ideas off of, even though they might not be real. So I do see an element here about feeling a little bit lonely and isolated growing up, almost as if other people couldn't understand you. So you might be, you might have had siblings and you might have grown up with them in the same household. But overall, there's a sense of isolation and loneliness. So this is an area in your life that it's a little bit of a sore spot for you. What I'm also getting as well is, in terms of like mitigating this energy, in terms of like sorting out this energy so that it doesn't affect you as we progress through the rest of this year. This is forcing you to have more constant communication with siblings. And if they are not, in a position where they're in the picture all the time, I do feel that, the other aspect here, the other house that can somehow break this cycle and allow you some type of an outlet is the opposite house. So the opposite house deals with the ninth house, which is philosophies, religion, and higher education. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but just to emphasize here, this is a little bit of a sore spot for you. And one of the ways that can really help you mitigate the loneliness associated with, communication, as well as some type of estrangement when it comes to sibling, is to try to cultivate the other area, which is expanding your mind, expanding your horizon, so that you are linking yourself up with like-minded people who can even serve as family members to you, or who can feel like family members because you have a common philosophical belief. So rather than dwelling on blood ties and, who's related to whom biologically, I feel like the other outlet that you have here is to cultivate friendships and, group associations even with people who are a little bit more philosophically similar to you, so that you can, focus more on the higher chakra, which is communication and, thoughts and intelligence and being able to verbalize your, whatever, being able to disseminate information, rather than dwelling on this aspect, which is a lot more emotional. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. So the fourth house deals with your mother as well as the family environment. It's the family environment that you grew up in, as well as the family environment that you are hoping to create or have created for yourself. We do have the death card in the reverse position, and the death card in the reverse position is, a home environment as well that needs some type of change. Okay. So there's a lot of stagnant energy as we are proceeding into, at the beginning of your reading, there is already a lot of things here. I mean, we have some new things on the relationship front, but I do feel as well, there's a lot of stagnancy. There's stagnancy when it comes to money and income and work. There's a lot of stagnancy when it comes to the housing environment as well. I feel like first of all, let's talk about the house that you're in. The family that you're hoping to create for yourself. It just feels to me like it's incomplete. So there might have been some type of a upheaval that happened in the home environment recently. And it might have happened for the past 3 years because, you know, you went through that Saturn transit, that where it really shook up your world so that you can reassess some of the things that was not healthy or happy for you, okay, in your life. So some major upheavals have happened during that Saturn transit 3 years ago. And so what I feel happening here with the Death card is I feel that a lot of you want to break out, you want to relocate, but there are some binding elements, like, you know, sentimental ties to a specific family, to a specific home. And then for others of you, as it relates to the childhood home that you grew up in, the Death card basically means a lot of instability, a lot of like just, it's not a traditional type of a family with the Death in the reverse. It's basically like confusing ties. There might have been a lot of changes, like fluctuations in financial status of the parents, which, you know, affects like the lifestyle of the children. So, and there's also, I feel like shifting away to different areas, a lot of instability that came through that, it just didn't feel very stable. As it relates to the mother, the Death card in the reverse position is a woman that undergoes many, transformations throughout her life. Okay. But with the Death card in the reverse position as well, the reversals basically indicates a situation that needs to change, but somebody is not willing to change. So I feel like, you know, the mother might be plagued with making the same decisions, like, you know, dating the same types of people, or even feeling like very stagnant in her own life, but not making the necessary changes for herself. The Death card reverse as well, you know, this is your card. This is the card of Scorpio, as it, you know, the major arcana, the first few major arcana, it represents the zodiac sign. So this is the card of Scorpio. And when it shows up in the reverse position, it's basically saying something like there is a very strong emotional tie with the mother. And they're saying literally, you are a lot like, you are more like your mother than you think. And I feel like you actually can learn a lot from her decisions, like the way she lives her life, the patterns repeating in her life, as well as, you know, watching her life, how her life plays out. It's going to provide a lot of, I want to say like foreshadowing for things to come. And keep in mind, these are things that we can change. So don't look at it too fatalistically. So these are things that you can change. But I do feel there's an element here of, you know, having some type of a cyclical, almost like a karmic tie with the mother, where things that are happening in her life are going to, you're encountering similar energies through her life. Look into, you know, I feel like sometime for this month, there might be some health issues as it relates to your family members. Okay. So just expect that. And, I also feel as well, like, the energy is surrounding siblings and the mother. So those are the two areas. The next card here is the Tower, and this rules your 5th house. The 5th house is the house of recreation, fun, and the things that you do in order to, you know, find enjoyment in life. It also rules the house of children. So first of all, for those of you who have children, once again, be very careful about health issues as it relates to children as well. Keep a very vigilant eye on them, because I do sense some issues here. If they are younger, be careful about falls, fractures, and, you know, little accidents here and there. And then if they're like, you know, like around 13 to around 20 or so, be very careful about, I feel like some is reckless behaviors. Just reckless behaviors, like not being where they're supposed to be. They tell you like, oh, I'm going to this place with such and such, and you find out, you know, that they're not there. So I do feel like some vigilance, some monitoring of children is going to be necessary here with the Tower. I actually pulled out another card, and I pulled out another card just to see, because, you know, usually with the major arcana cards like the Tower, it's important to pull out another one just so to expand on this concept here. We do have the 10 of Pentacles. And the 10 of Pentacles basically being in a very, very crowded environment and feeling very stifled and feeling almost like claustrophobic. So I do feel for a lot of you, I feel that, you know, it's be very, very careful where you go to, and especially in places that might have, you know, they say, like, you know, those maximum occupancy, the restrictions on how many people can be in a specific venue at a specific time. So be very careful about overcrowding, going to places that are a little bit too crowded, and then something happens and then everyone has to evacuate. So I do see like false alarms when it comes to fire alarms. It is the new year, so we're experiencing, you know, also I feel like inclement weather or something like that, that's going to really affect your ability to really enjoy yourself for this month. I also feel that there is a major transformation as well regarding the way that you entertain yourself. So a lot of you might have been thinking, you know, about entertaining more at home, inviting family over, for example, or even just, you know, enjoying yourself at home. Hosting family or even dinners with friends and family rather than going out, and I feel that you're more focused on savings.